Okay, so the Bruins lost Game 5 at TD Garden. They're now down 3-2. Couple things right away. Despite the stats heavily favoring the Bruins, they almost outshot the Blues 2-1. They outhit the Blues. The eye test said something different to me. I thought the Blues were right there stride for stride with the Bruins all night long. At worst, I think the stats in this case were a little misleading. Now, I got a ton of heat last night because of what I said about the Nolan Chari non-call. Was that a penalty? Yes, it absolutely should have been a trip. But you got to understand something here. This is the third period of Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final, and the Blues already had 3 times as many penalties called against them in the game than the Bruins. And you know how subconsciously those things sort of even themselves out over the course of a game. I think the Bruins have been a little too preoccupied in trying to sell calls. Torrey Krug did it earlier in the game. When he got hit, he immediately looked up at the ref. And yeah, I think the refs picked up on that a little bit. Now, was it a trip? Yes. And if you don't think that Nolan Chari was embellishing that at all by throwing his right foot up over his head like a European Premier League soccer player, you're nuts. Now, I get it. The Bruins have thrived on special teams, especially on the power play. Not so much recently, but they have. So you want the calls. But this is Game 5 Stanley Cup Final in the third period. And you've already had the significant power play advantage in the game. By the letter of the law, it was absolutely a trip, but it wasn't the worst thing I'd ever seen. The guy was trying to play the puck, and they didn't call it. I can't say I'm shocked that they didn't call it even though they should have. I thought Bruce Cassidy handled the post-game comments perfectly. The only thing I disagreed with Bruce Cassidy on during the post-game press conference, Sanford or whoever tripped Achari, I think he put the palms up as in, what was Achari doing? What was that? Basically calling out his flop. I don't think he was admitting guilt to tripping him. Now, with that being said, yes, I'm concerned now that the Bruins are 1 game away from losing this series, but can they come back and win? Is this series over? Absolutely not. They can come back and win this series. Now, I'd like to say that the refs will take notice, but you already had a 3-1 advantage in power plays in that game. So you might get some power plays, but you got to score on them now. The power play for the Bruins has gone cold a little. You still have the better goalie. Tuukka Rask is still atop his game. I still think the Bruins have a good chance to win this series. They're going to be angry for Game 6. I'm concerned, but the Bruins still have a good shot.
Well, as you know, I'm not on Snapface and all that, so I don't really get those.